And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. To quote the late great Williams, aka Mr. Bill Shakespeare, the quote Bill Shakespeare, this shit is bananas. Bananas. Yes, this shit is bananas. There's craziness going on in this hobby. Welcome back, guys. If you guys do not know me, my name is PK. This is Poké Knowledge Cards channel. We are live every Thursday night at between 9 and 10 p.m. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the hobby. I'll do a little Pokemon recap, but first I want to talk about some of this, what is this, late breaking news? I guess not really breaking news at this point. It's about a day old, but this is my first live talking about it. And I think it does have a lot to do. We could talk a little bit about just all the forgeries going on in Pokemon. I think a lot of times people put blind eyes to a lot of things. And I think one of the crazy things is, you know, COAs, certificates of authenticity. Like, people put so much blind trust in a lot of this stuff, the same way as a lot of people put a lot of blind trust as well. If PSA graded a card and they authenticated the signature, it must be real. If Beckett authenticated the signature, it must be real. If CGC verified the fake test print cards worth millions of dollars, it must be real. Well, obviously more and more of these scams keep coming out. It's funny. I said, obviously, we're going to talk about a lot of sports today, but it goes into Pokemon. It's the same thing with, last time I had Rattle on the channel, I asked him a very simple question, because at the time, the CGC was the hot topic, because CGC graded millions of dollars worth of fake test print cards, and at the time, it was the biggest scam in Pokemon's history. And then I asked him, I said, let me ask you, Rattle, do you think that this is it? Like, is this the ceiling? Is there never a scam bigger than this in the Pokemon hobby? Now, when I asked Rattle that question, I asked him about it for Pokemon. I didn't ask him it in the hobby as a whole, just trading card games or memorabilia or signatures, or there's so much stuff that is added into the hobby we love. Like, Pokemon is not just the cards. We talk about the cards a lot, but it's not just the cards. The signatures are a big thing. The test print stuff is a big thing. You know, Pokemon action figures, cereal. Shout out the popsicle sticks. If you know why I mentioned popsicle sticks, if you know, you know. If you don't, it's fine. Pokemon center clocks. This hobby is huge, and just as collectibles as a whole, it's just, we're probably seeing arguably the biggest scam ever unfold. $350 million worth of fake stuff. If that doesn't shake people's confidence in signature market, I don't know what does. See, we're going to go into this. I'm actually going to read the article. This is something I don't usually do, because this is a long article. Shout out to Beckett.com. If you guys do look in the description of this video, if you want to, all I'm going to do pretty much is I'm going to pause. I'm going to read through this video. I'll talk about it a little bit. But if you want to pause this part, go click on the link. You can read the article yourself. You can fast forward to the part where I'm reading through this if you do care what I think about it. But, so yeah. Sports collecting hobby rocked by alleged $350 million Mr. ManCave forgery scandal. Now, I'm sure Rattle's going to cover this, and I know Rattle will do a much better job of me, especially showing all the known forgeries we've seen come up in the Pokemon hobby. Rattle pretty much touches forgeries, especially in the signature market, multiple times a month. I think, again, people they stick their fingers in their ears and they hum for a lot of this stuff, and because they don't want to believe it, they don't want to believe that they could be affected. But I think more importantly, I think the second thing is, people don't believe that they could ever be duped. I think people always think that they are just too smart, that they'll put up too many roadblocks, like, yeah, all these other people will get scammed, but I'll never get scammed. Looking at the amount of forgeries that are happening, millions of forgeries, the chances of people having a actual authentic signed jersey or car, or, these are like stickers, like the stickers they put on the cards, or an actual like authentic thing, the percentages have dropped so drastically right now, unless you were actually there and you witnessed your favorite athlete actually autograph something. Like, everything is thrown into whack right now. But either way, Details are still unfolding, but from early reports, the sports memorabilia market was dealt a horrific blow on Wednesday when longtime collectible dealer, I'm probably going to butcher his last name, Brett Lemuix, I'm going to just call him Brett from now on, admitted to forging athletic autographs under the business name Mr. ManCave. The count of fakes is unknown, but the duration is at least 20 years. 20 years, that is a freaking long time. Brings it all back to like 2005. This could include as many as 4 million items. The assumption that all confessed by Brett to be accurate. The Westfield Police Department in Indiana reportedly raided 2 locations on Tuesday and Wednesday. Coupled with the raid, Brett posted on Facebook page, Autographs 101, admitted to the crimes. Unfortunately, when I clicked on this link, I didn't know that they had redacted some people's names that he's mentioned, so it might get a little confusing, but COA holograms are used on certificate of authenticity as a security measure to verify the genuineness of an item or collectible. Some COAs also include serial numbers to give an exact measure of authenticity to help prevent counterfeiting. Dude, this dude had it all down. He was making fake holographic stickers. He had entire systems going. It gets pretty in-depth at how he was able to do this. And to do 4 million items, it's not just, he wasn't just selling to local mom and pop shops. This dude was selling to the biggest players in the industry. Mr. ManCave has sold over 4 million items. Brett said, yes, millions. Surpassed $350 million in sales. Sold and produced holograms, Fanatics, Maze, Bonds, you named it, we made it. We sold over 5 million Fanatics hologram alone, outside of what we produced to the biggest vendors in the industry. JSA, we made and produced over 3 million counterfeit stickers and holograms. We made yellow cards, holograms, and then number sets in the millions. Panini, oh yeah, almost forgot. We produced holograms and cards for their entire database. Think about that. Panini's entire autograph and signature database. Almost their entire. All forgeries. This is when it gets pretty dark. When Kobe died, we put out 80,000 items into the marketplace, sold over 500,000 counterfeit Panini items. 500,000 Panini counterfeit items. Brett continued, and then this is where it gets a little confusing because they start removing people's names. Carmel, Indiana, was the sole person who put out the 100,000 Tom Brady items in the market. He was the source of it all along. Name removed. He funneled every item. Name removed, produced. Name removed. A lot of names removed right here. Sold it in the name blank, which was him and his brother's multiple accounts. Name removed, and then the accounts riddled. Yeah, a lot of redacted stuff right there. I wish I got the original post. I'm sorry for that. More details as how the crimes were committed were produced by Brett. He's the one that showed me the dark side of the industry and the money that can be made. Name removed. Was the original artist for the holograms. Then it turned into auto pen. You can buy a $150 auto pen on Amazon. Have people overseas victorize signature and use ink to scalp to auto pen. There has been nothing like this since Operation Bullpen. If you guys don't know Operation Bullpen, don't worry. I didn't know what it was. I had to do a quick Google search. Operation Bullpen was a huge FBI investigation that took place from 1999 to 2005, I believe, or 2005 or 2006. It was a huge FBI 6-year investigation. It was like $100 million worth of forgeries in the sports card hobby. There was a lot of stuff that was going on in Asia and stuff, but it was like a huge crime ring that was taking place, and the FBI did a huge investigation into that. And it's funny that that's when Operation Bullpen took place, and then this guy has now been doing this for 20 years. So Operation Bullpen went from 1999 to 2005. This dude's been doing this now for 20 years. That means he started in 2005. It's kind of like a Hydra. You know what Hydra is? You cut off one head and 2 grow in its place. It's kind of like that, where once that forgery market got dismantled, there was still a need for autos. And if there's nobody there supplying, because that $100 million, ring collapsed, this dude just walked in. It's kind of like, I almost look at it in a way like bootlegging, like back in the day for alcohol and stuff. Like once alcohol became illegal, just like people stepped in and they became these bootleggers because people still wanted it. And it's almost a shame because it's very similar to this hobby. Like, people don't care where this stuff really comes from as long as they get it. And as long as there's some make-believe fake provenance that comes to it, like, people are fine with that. And that's the scary thing. And hopefully people will learn from this, but they won't. This, just like I had to Google search what Operation Bullpen was because I never knew what that was, it's the same way that in 20 years from now, people will hear about this and be like, $350 million auto pen. What? Like, I've never heard of this. Attention spans, memories in this hobby are very, very short. All right, the post continued. We sold Tom Brady for 12 years. Steiner came to me and then folded. Fanatics bought so much. They didn't know what to say or do, but when you ran your mouth and what Michael Rubin thinks he's done to the industry, I set out to make as many Fanatics counterfeit stickers as I could. Millions upon millions. Have you guys ever dealt with Pokemon cards? You know how many million Pokemon cards is? It's multiple 5-row boxes. I have a million Pokemon cards sitting in the grandma's basement. It takes up a lot of room. I can't even imagine selling a high-end autographs, and this dude must have had a crazy system going. There will be photos of the bust, I'm sure of it. If it was Fanatics, they may try to bury it. All but the Westfield Police Department came today at 9 a.m. with semi-trucks, tractor-trailer trucks that came. Not just one, it says multiple. Semi-trucks. I hope no one tries to hide this. I want to expose how big of an operation you all knew was going on, but grass how big it was. The post continued. I always took it as a challenge. Started slow and bad. See, this is always the thing. You always hear this about scammers. They'll start off slow and bad, and then they'll ramp up because they get more cocky, they get more confident, and with the cockiness and the confidence, unfortunately, usually comes a skill factor, and the skill factor actually grows too. And Rattle talks about it all the time. The unfortunate reality, well, no, I shouldn't say unfortunate. The fortunate reality of this hobby is most scammers in this hobby are very dumb, and they get caught all the time. The good scammers are just unfortunately not dumb, and they may never get caught, or if they do get caught, it might take 20 years and FBI investigations and $350 million later in some examples. Example being this one. And I shifted to the giant that was Bill. I spent sleepless nights planning what items to counterfeit next. I had every hologram we ever made extracted from every company's database and put into Excel. So with a touch of a button, I can type Mahomes and bin shoots out every Mahomes sticker, hologram, or COA card. Every item automated and sorted. I'd spend countless hours scrolling Excel finding my next score. Dude, this dude is like... This is like a super villain of the hobby. Like, like the thing is, in like DC or Marvel, you have the villain, and the hero very easily defeats, right? But the super villain is the reason why you can have a difference between a regular villain and a super villain is the super villain, why they are so scary is because they could actually hurt the hero. So like you got your normal thugs where Batman could come and they could take out 20 thugs at the one time. Or you could have the Joker. The Joker is the supervillain because the supervillain could hurt Batman. Or Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is just a man, but he knows Superman's weakness, and that is kryptonite. That is the difference between a supervillain and a regular villain. This dude is a supervillain. My man went to bed. He talks about it, going to bed every night and just staying up at night, thinking about ways to scam the hobby and how to make his scam even better. It was thrilling having every athlete in every sport from every authentication company at your fingertips to produce the signature. Flawless, authenticate it with flawless bootleg holograms, and then sell it for half what the company does by the thousands. That's all I spent my time and my life on. This dude was dedicated. Read that line again. That's all I spent my time and life on. This dude was a super villain. He spent his time and his life. This was like his life's goal, to be a super villain. What was the next item to do? Next name, next flawless signature. I was addicted. It was a rush. I wanted out. but the money was too good. I can make $100,000 a week if I wanted to. The fact that not one dealer that knew what we were doing to the industry, or when I took their when I took their exclusive, no one ever picked up the phone to confront me. That's the thing too. People are afraid of the supervillain. Nobody wants to confront this guy. Isn't it weird? You don't get this big without somebody having inklings, and that's the thing. People start getting nervous because they start worrying about their vested interest. That's what's going on. It's their vested interest because now this dude has gotten so big. $350 million, millions of items worth of signatures. Everybody is vested. Everybody probably is sitting on stuff that this dude made. And now they're so vested that they're looking at their inventory, that they're afraid. And that's what he just said. That no one ever picked up the phone to confront him. Think about that. That baffled me. I told multiple dealers, I will ruin you and your exclusive. And they knew better. This dude, he ruled with an iron fist. Once the heat turns on, new company, same game, but makes it better than the last that you got caught up. Every company makes changes. We did too. They added security. We did too. There was nothing that couldn't be done. I sat on an auto pen machine 8 hours a day, perfecting signatures that would pass any certificate of authenticity. It even passed by own players during signings. We'd mix in items. What would you do if you could create any signature or surface flawlessly, or on any surface flawlessly, and have the holograms to boot? I just couldn't stop. You will see a boom in bad autographs with good stickers hitting the market like a firestorm. I sold over 2 million in just holograms to every 2 million in just holograms to every avenue I could. For years, collectors in the hobby have been very suspicious of Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, and Mahomes autographs and paraphernalia. For anybody that has paid top dollar for this jersey, baseball helmet, you name it, it sends chills down the spine. As a buyer and collector, all we can do is trust the people authenticating the items. With this shakeup in the collected inches, reported and confirmed by the Westfield Police Department that a dead body was found at one of the locations of the police raid. At the time of writing, the identity of the body was not released, and the dead body, it looked like the dead body, it looked like they took their own life from some of the other articles I read. So, I mean, usually people don't go pow pow unless they're guilty. Now, everybody is obviously innocent until proven guilty. I am just reading this article, which was posted. $350 million. It seems like... all right, now, this is where I get to... hike! Ready? Blue, check. Mike, check the linebacker, all right? This is where I get to play Monday morning quarterback. All right, I've always looked at this type of market, and I've always wondered, how do they get these athletes to sign all these items? And then I just always kind of in my head was like, maybe they just put these athletes in a room for 8 hours and they just sign stuff nonstop. And I always thought to myself, I'm like, Tom Brady's a very rich man. Like, why does he still sign this stuff? How much money do they, give to Tom Brady to sign this? Like, Pete Rose, I understood Pete Rose. At the end of his career, Pete Rose was broke as a joke, and he went to every single signing convention that made sense. Like, that he could, because it made sense. Like, I got that. Like, all right, Pete Rose, I get it. Dude was broke. Tom Brady, I never understood. I'm like, how does so much of this stuff exist? Well, I guess we got our answer. Well, it didn't exist. And there was literally hundreds of thousands of Tom Brady signatures that hit the market that are just not real. This is crazy. I can't wait for Rattle to tackle this, because he's going to show you all the countless examples of Pokemon forgeries that exist for artist signatures. People are going to say, how rampant is it? It's extremely rampant, because this guy talks about making $100,000 a week. There's people in Pokemon, maybe they're not going to that level. Like, it's really hard to push 100,000, $100,000 a week in fake Pokemon signatures, but there's definitely hundreds of thousands of dollars to be made per year doing that. And shout out to Slowpoke and stuff. Slowpoke could only keep up with so many of these fake signatures. Like, the amount of this stuff that just keeps getting pushed through is a wild thing. And, PSA fired their head authenticity person, and then there's a little lag there and stuff, but we're constantly seeing examples. Rattle constantly is showing this stuff. Sometimes, and the problem is they're going through major auction platforms, and they're graded. So they have like the authenticity guarantee, but it's not a real authenticity guarantee. Like if you read in like PSA's very fine print, they're often, they're going to authenticate the card itself. Their authenticity guarantee doesn't actually cover the signature. Like, you don't know that. It only covers the card itself. But the signature, even though it's graded and labeled as authentic from their signature grading, their like guarantee doesn't cover it. So it's a very tricky thing. It is authenticated by PSA, but through their terms of service, it is not covered financially. And just a lot of people, they just are not aware of that simple fact, because it's in the writing, because they think there's a PSA off, or like a, insurance policy, but it just doesn't cover signatures. And Rattle shows it. I don't know. Misha Hirarita, he did a couple, call it Shiny Zards. So he would sign like a Charizard base set holo. Misha Hirarita, if you guys don't know who that is, original illustrator who drew the Charizard. And for a few people, he would do the Charizard actual sketch, like a Charizard face. And for a very, very small amount of people, he would actually color in the Charizard to make it a black Charizard. And in Pokemon, the shiny Charizard is black, so he would make like a shiny Charizard. Did that for a very, very small handful of people, and then he just said, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. If you want to do it, you can do it yourself. Pretty much told people. And you know what people did? They went upon themselves to do it themselves. But there's no way to differentiate that. So when people see a card like that go up for sale, they just assume in their head that the person that colored in that Charizard was in fact Misha Hirarita, when it wasn't. It was actually, he did sign the card, he did draw the Charizard sketch, but he didn't color it in. So there's like added layers to it. It's like real signature, real card, not real drawing, but not actually colored in. And that's like one example. And then there's all the people that would go to signings, and then they would, use dry erase markers and dry erasers and be able to take off, because Pokemon changed the policy where if you wanted a card signed, you'd have to show your ID, and then it would be like 2 PK. And what people would do is they use a dry erase marker, and then use and you could actually like wipe off the 2, and that's what they would do. And then they would sell it as just the signature, because people didn't want to, Bill. Like, nobody cares about Bill. So they were altered cards, and people weren't identifying that there's an altered signature. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and Rattle's made, I don't even know how many, countless, untold amount of videos, but people, they just stick their head in the sand and they don't care. And the unfortunate reality is this stuff sells every day. And even though that this has just taken place, and we're seeing $350 million in counterfeit like signatures and millions of different fakes, so $350 amount, and then what it reported, what was it? I forget the number. We just read it. What was it? 4 million? Yeah. Mr. ManCave has sold over 4 million items. So was every single item that he sold counterfeit? I think the answer to that is a resounding no. I don't think that they were all fake, but he talks about doing millions of stuff. So if he sold over 4 million, and the numbers are confusing in here too. Like he said, we sold over 5 million Fanatics holograms alone outside of what we produced to the biggest vendors in the industry. So you're producing these holographs where, like, then he talks about poor signatures hitting the market. So did he just sell the holograms to people? So now people are going to make their own signatures. Like, is this one of those things just everyone knew what was going on? How deep does this go? I have a feeling this is not the end of this. You will hear about this happen for years and years, and you're going to find more and more people in the industry are going to come out, and the amount of greed and money and everything that is going to exchange hands. And at the end of the day, what is a COA? It's meaningless. It's just somebody's word. How many of these COAs are from, Mr. ManCave? It's like, oh, this comes with a Mr. ManCave COA, and they're like, oh yeah, that dude's legit. And it's like, what made him legit? Well, he does a lot of volume. Like, that's the thing. It's just like, well, he sells to Panini. He sells to Fanatics. dude's got to be on the level, right? And from an outsider looking in, it's like, wait, who does he provide? And they said Fanatics and Panini. And they're like, oh, yeah. I mean, this dude, that's who he sells? Yeah, that's who he's selling to. Yeah, this dude must be legit. There's no way that his COAs aren't valuable. That's the thing. And now, if he really was as good at auto penning, it looks like it was able to make its way through multiple layers and was able to do it for 20 plus years. How do you know if yours is real at this point? You don't know. And that's the thing. There'll still be a premium on fake signatures. That's the world we live in too. The signature market has not and will not go to zero. And with 4 million items floating around in circulation, there will be a premium to those forever. Think about that. Those will forever be valuable. There'll be no way anybody will ever know every single one of them. Sure, whatever the police seized and stuff, and the semi-tractor trailer trucks loaded with stuff, yeah, everyone will not want that stuff. But all the stuff that goes on the market, there'll be a Tom Brady jersey that transacts and trades hands from now every day for the next 25 years. Every single day, 365 days a year, there'll be a Tom Brady jersey that transacts, and no one will care. They'll just value fake signatures. Like, we live in a weird world. And it's the same way with Pokemon. The same way as you could have a colored in Charizard sketch by Masahiro Arita that he did not do, but people will still value that fake, known, altered, shiny fake Charizard that somebody else colored in. They will value that card more than the non-colored in sketched Masahiro Arita Charizard because it looks cooler. Full transparency, that Charizard looks much cooler when they color it in. It pops. It's different because there's a million Masahiro Arita sketches of just regular Charizards. There's only a few of the colored in ones, and it looks cooler. And they will always sell for a premium. You want to know why? Because people just don't care. They don't care that you scam them. It's weird. We live in a weird hobby. Rattle tries to showcase it on the daily. This is proving it to everybody. People don't care. And I promise you, there will be jerseys that will sell every day. You can probably go on eBay right now, type in sold jerseys, and I bet your ass, I bet you can even find some with Mr. ManCave signatures of authenticity attached to it. Like, it's crazy. This is just the world we live in now. And the amount of people that have these stickers and stuff, again, everything I say on this channel is always my opinion. I'm just going off, this is more just a reaction video to Beckett.com's article. I definitely recommend you guys going in, reading the article yourself, making your own opinion. But yeah, this is just my opinion on the information that is portrayed as of right now and what it could mean for the long term of the hobby. And unfortunately, I think the long term doesn't mean anything. It was crazy. That's that. All right, with that said, Pokemon market update. As of tomorrow, officially Black Bolt and White Flare, both sets get officially released. We booming. Allocations were trash. At distribution, it seems like there was a lot of mix-ups. A lot of people didn't even get, people would get their allocations of certain ETBs, like just Black Bolt, and then they didn't get their White Flare ETBs. So it was like a weird thing. It is super confusing if you look on the actual label. It would just say like Sword and Shield 10.5. You'd have to look at the actual SKU number to realize, okay, this is Black Bolt, this is White Flare. Super confusing. I'm sure that was a nightmare at distribution because they're both labeled the same, Sword and Shield 10.5. Like, it doesn't say Black Bolt, it doesn't say White Flare. It's weird. So there's a lot of hiccups at distribution. A lot of the stuff is making its way out to people. There's a huge demand for this stuff. Specialty set, this is a problem too. Specialty sets, you don't have a good way to get a lot of packs. ETBs are just not a good way to deliver packs. At least for a sealed case of booster boxes, you got 36 packs per box, 6 boxes per case. What is that? 216 packs per case. So you get a nice condensed way to get packs when at set releases for booster box cases. ETB cases, big ass bulky box, a lot of air in it. Yes, air. AIR. You get 10 ETBs per box. So what is that? 90 or no, it's a main set or a specialty set. So 10 packs per, so 100 packs per ETB case. You get 100 packs for this big ass box versus a booster box case. You get, double that. And then you just don't get a lot of it. And there's a lot of demand for this. And then the other ways you could get it is like the mini tin displays or the poster collections. And the poster collections, they just don't come with a lot of stuff. There's just not a good method. There's not a good way to get a lot of packs. People are going to be ripping this shit like crazy. You know how deep this set is? There's 162 different illustration rares. There's literally an IR for every single black and white like error Pokemon. 162 IRs. In the Black Bolt set, there's a beautiful SIR Zekrom, and then there's the monochrome like BWR black and white rarity Reshiram, or sorry, Zekrom. And then in White Flare, there's a Zekrom SIR, and then a BWR black and white rarity Reshiram. So you got a Zekrom monochrome, Reshiram monochrome, SIR Zekrom, SIR Reshiram. And then there's like the Red Victini, if you've seen those cards. It's a deep set. People are going to want to open it, and there's just no supply on the market right now. This shit is going to pop, and it's just going to be people cannibalizing down product. And there's going to be a huge premium on packs. Right now, we're living in the day of it comes out tomorrow. I'm nervous what a week or two looks like. 7 days doesn't seem like a lot. 14 days, double that. 2 weeks, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. We are far removed from booster bundles. Booster bundles will be another way where people will get a nice little influx of packs, but even booster bundles, only 6 packs per booster bundle. So yeah, you get a case. What do you get? 10 booster bundles per case, so you get 60 packs per case. Yeah, people are going to get a decent amount, and there'll be a little injection into the market, and then yeah, these things are going to be rolling through your big box retail and stuff. But the thing is big box retail is MSRP. That is market price, and then a lot of people buying at your Walmart and Target. There's no tax exemption at Walmart and Target, so everybody's paying taxes on that. So then people are going to be taking those what they paid full market price for. They paid all their taxes on it, and then they're going to sell it on the secondary market, and then they're going to want a premium to the person they're selling it to, and then the person that they're selling it to is probably going to stream that and rip that, and then they're going to have to get their premium, and there's just the prices of this shit's just going to keep going up. It's scary. Like, we're in the short term. Listen, the mega set, shout out to Pokemon Center, shout out to Rattle Discord coming through clutch for a lot of people. I know a lot of people were able to get their mega evolutions Pokemon Center ETB pre-orders thanks to the Rattle Discord. A lot of people were able to get a booster box. I think the ETBs like instantly sold out. I clicked on the ETBs and they are not the ETBs, the booster bundles. I got 2 ETBs. I got 1 of each artwork, and then I managed to get a booster box. Shout out to Tap, by the way. I reached out to Tap via message. I got the dreaded Error 17 message, but Tap helped calm me down a little bit. He's like, PK, just pull up your Safari app. He said, don't click on the link through the Discord. He said, open up either a separate Safari browser or a separate Chrome browser. Don't click on it through the Discord. So I opened up, I just typed in Pokemon Center. Luckily, before I got the Error 17 message, everything was already in my cart. So after, it took like another 40-45 minutes to make it through the queue on my phone. But when I was able to get in, I logged on, and then my cart was already pre-populated with the 3 items. And then I just took my time, took a big deep breath, and was able to slowly check out. And then I was able to get 1 of each ETB and the booster box. And that was shout out to Tap. Tap helped make that possible. And the Rattle Discord made that possible. But yeah, a lot of people seem to have luck with that. But you know what the same thing is? Hundreds of thousands of people in the queue. How many of those are bots? Doesn't matter. Even with that said, there were still a lot of people who were just not able to get it. Why? Because the reason I was able to like do it and freak out and get locked out on my computer and still make it up, still manage to log on my phone was because I was packing orders while the notification went live. So I literally heard the bing from the Rattle Discord and I clicked on the link and stuff. I was there in front of my computer. I wasn't anywhere else. And that's why I was able to get it, because there's a lot of demand for this stuff. Like a crazy amount of demand. The amount of demand for Pokemon right now. And I'm not going to like do my whole thing, but listen, there could be some really terrible stuff that happens in the world and there will still be a queue. Like you name it. Like there could be like a meteor could take out like a decent amount of some part of the world. Like on the news, it's like meteor hit, 100,000 people dead. And there will be a queue. Like, That's this hobby right now, like crazy levels where it's like you could be in like Armageddon type mode, and there will people will be in their bunkers on their cell phone, mad that the concrete ceiling is 3 foot thick and they don't have a Wi-Fi signal, and they're getting mad because their router isn't, well, maybe they have a router in their bunker with their 3 foot thick concrete walls, and you know what they're going to be doing in their bunker? They're still on their phone because there will still be a queue. Like, that is the world we live in right now, where it would be like, we need post-apocalyptic type scenarios to happen where there's not a queue in Pokemon Center. We are in the boom of booms. And I told you, I was in front of my computer. There was people that just, God forbid, they went to their job and they had to work for a living. Like, they don't get this because it was already sold out. And maybe we'll get restocks. And yes, there are definitely always restocks at Pokemon Center ETBs, but they're never as big as the first wave. The first wave is your best opportunity you're going to get. You will get opportunities again. We got Tap. Tap says, ignore me. I'm grinding EXP. Tap, appreciate you, buddy. But that's the thing. Like, oh, Tap, you got me confused now. I'll see Tap pretty soon. I'll see Tap in Charlotte Collecticon. So if you guys are going to be at Charlotte Collecticon, make sure you guys come say hi to me. I'll be walking around. Maybe I'll be near the tall guy. I don't know. Mr. Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles. But what was I saying? I lost it. I lost my train of thought, Tap. You got me good. Oh, yeah. Just talking about Pokemon Center. Yeah, your first restock is going to, or your first stock is going to be your best chance. You will get opportunities again in the future, but again, every release after this is going to be a little less than the first one. And that's a problem. And I talked about it on my last live, and I'm going to hammer down this point again because I do believe it. And unfortunately, it's just going to, I'm not a lot of hills I'm willing to die on in this hobby, but pretty close I'm willing to die on this. This will be maybe not my Everest, but this will maybe be my Mount Kilimanjaro, where I'm willing to die on this mountain, but I'm not willing to maybe die on the Everest yet. But I'm telling you right now, the Mega Evolutions base set is not a bad set. Do not take my words out of context. It is not a bad set, but it will be the worst of the Mega sets. I know that is hard for people out there, and I talked about it on my last live, and it's hard for people's brains to process that. It will be the worst of the Mega sets, but it will not be a bad set. Have you already seen the Mega leaks coming out? These Mega cards slap. They are some of the best beautiful artworks ever, and they're Lucario. Listen, no shade at Lucario. Listen, no shade at Lucario whatsoever. But the other Megas that are coming out, there's going to be a Mega Charizard and a Mega Gengar. And guess what? Mega Lucario's down here, and Mega Charizard and Gengar are way up here. Like, way up here. It's going to be preposterous. And you think that people are just going to be all over and there's going to be a crazy queue and people are going to be mad that they had to work and because the Pokemon Center Mega Evolutions ETB sold out? Do you have any clue what's going to happen when the Mega Charizard and Mega Gengar start releasing? Especially with the artwork today. And again, don't underestimate artists' ability to art. Shout out to Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles for that quote. Don't underestimate artists' ability to art. You think the artwork is just going to get worse from here on out? No. The artwork is just going to keep getting better. And you know what? We're going to get a Mega Charizard and you know what? The next set is always the best set. And that's a crazy thing because Mega Evolutions isn't coming out till the end of September. And here we are. Where are you talking about the hypothetical set after the Mega Evolution set? The next Mega set. I'm already, see, like, some people are mad. They're like, oh, people already moved on to the Mega Evolution set. See, those are the rookies. The rookies move on to we already know what that set's like. I'm already moving on to the next one. It's just like when Glory the Team Rocket got announced. It wasn't the set that got announced, it was just the IP being trademarked. Glory the Team Rocket, and I did an emergency press conference. I'm already moving on to Glory the Team Rocket, ended up being our Destined Rival set, which unfortunately is probably going to hit $300 a booster box pretty freaking soon, which is a scary thought. I don't know if you guys have been looking at TCG Player recently, but it's like $280 a box right now. Preposterous, make believe. I can't believe a modern booster box of the most current actual main expansion is about to hit $300 a booster box. We are living in La La Land. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're just living in modern 2025 Pokemon because shit's just booming. And you think like I'm sorry, do you think the Mega Charizard and the Mega fucking Gengar, like that's the death of the hobby? It's like, oh, finally. Mega Charizard's here. Mega Gengar's here. I can finally go walk into my Target and pick up booster boxes at any point. I'm not going to go on release day. Maybe I'll just go like on a random Tuesday at 3 o'clock because I know that those will be sitting on the shelves because nobody wants the Mega Charizard or Mega Gengar. Like, those will not be words that will be spoken. And we're just going to come skipping along the Yellow Brick Road, holding, Toto's going to be running in front of us. The Cowardly Lion is going to be looking for some courage. The old Tin Man wants a heart. And all of us are the Scarecrow because if only I had a brain. None of us have a brain, but you know what? It doesn't matter because we're all skipping down the Yellow Brick Road. None of us have fucking brains, but we're just going to be just skipping right into the 30th anniversary. And there's going to be old Pokemon right there with their arms wide open. A shout out to Creed singing with arms wide open, and we're just going to skip right into their arms. And that'll be the 30th anniversary. And then the 30th anniversary is going to come, and everybody's going to get pumped, and we're going to get hyped, and we booming. We booming. You think it's going to get easier? You think people are just like distribution? Where's the cards? I don't know where it is. Set after set, release after release, allocations are going down for everybody. People with, we're not just talking about, oh, well, this because that dude never had, like, big allocations in the past. Shout out to Dan. Dan got cut on Black and White, or Black Bolt and White Flare. This is the man who sold millions of dollars through the Troll and Toad Evil program. Not hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars, but millions of dollars. And why did he do it? I talk about this a lot, but I think it's important because people don't understand. Everybody just thinks you make 100% if you have distribution. It's like you buy a distribution, you instantly make 100%. Well, that might be true today. In the long history of this hobby, well, why? Because Troll and Toad, literally, like, the distributor was next to him, and they would more or less roll the pallet over the Troll and Toad and say, here, Mr. Catch-em-all Collectibles allocation, and Dan would sell booster boxes, and he would make $1 a booster box. Why the fuck would you spend $80 to source a booster box from distribution to after platform fees and everything? Why would you make $1 if you have to shell out 80 or 85 or 90 or 95 or whatever you're sourcing the booster box? Why would you shell out 95 after everything's all said and done to make $1? That is the dumbest thing ever. Well, Dan had one singular thought in mind. I want to build my allocations, so I will take as much as they will give me, and I will make as many dollars as I can because I will build allocations. And he did that, and he moved millions of dollars worth of product, and he busted his ass, and he made almost no money. But Troll and Toad, they did all the handle and everything, and a lot of money went out, and very little bit of money came back profit-wise. All that to build allocation. And even now, after all that, his allocations are still cut. And he will take as much as they will give them. Okay? That is this hobby. No matter how much you spent in the past, luckily, he was a big account, big-ish relative, because he was able to do that with one singular thought in mind that he could, and that's, again, perspective. Nobody does that. Because, one, nobody has the capital to do that because the tie-up $95 to make $96 doesn't make a lot of sense. But, well, when you're not fulfilling anything, you're doing all this shit. But, like, people will never understand that. They will never comprehend that. Because I promise you, when the day does come, if it ever comes, which at this point I don't even see it happen, but if the day does come where you have to buy a booster box at $95 from distribution, and you, after all platform fees and seals taxes and everything you're paying, whoever sells it, whatever consignment service, because Troll and Toad Evil at that point was a consignment service, when everything's all said and done, they send you back $96. It's like, well, I gave them $95. They sent me back $96. That's a lot of money to make $1. Maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Or maybe I don't want to do this to tie up hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe I will cut back on the amount of money because I just have to tie up too much because I don't have this much. I can't make $1 for every 100. It's just too much. That's eventually, that's what will happen. And then again, people will die off And then the people that actually do it will keep building. And then you know what? But that's the thing. When the boom happens again, your Ace Hardwares will get booster boxes. Your Dick's Sporting Goods, shout out to the word Dick's. Dick's will get ETBs. You know why? Because they're just big stores. They could just get allocation, and everybody will want their piece, and they will get it. And I see all the people walking through Dick's Sporting Goods. So, and that's a problem. It's going to take a lot for that to change too, because when there's money to be made, people will make it. We live in a capitalist society. If there's money to be made, companies will want a piece. Everybody wants their piece. And the problem is when the money's not there, everybody will leave. They're not going to want to do this anymore. People aren't going to want to spend $100 to make $1. They're just not going to want to. We are far from that day. Sorry. I don't know how to wrap it up in a nice little bow where it's like, well, at the end of the day, the silver lining is here's the exact day. Mark it on your calendar. This is when it changes. I don't know when it changes. Maybe it changes one day. I don't know. Here we are. Like this is the hobby. This is where the moment we're living in today. You think it's just modern? Should we do the old, what's old Jim been up to? You guys know Jim, aka Mr. Z&G? Let's get some free content out of Mr. Jimbo, Mr. James from Z&G. Let's just our shameless shill, Mr. James. Let's see, old Japanese versus English. Level X from Platinum base set. Platinum Rise and Rivals. I said Platinum base set. Rise and Rivals Infernape, $4,000. Look at this. Confirmed paid new record sales. The old Charizard Secret Rare from Stormfront, number 65 out of 64. The good old Shiny Gyarados. Shout out to 66 out of 64 with the Magikarp. But all-time highs right there. Look at that. Celebi Hollow from Skyridge. $6,200. Do you want to see this? I'll show you on my screen. Look at that. That is not the hollow. That is a good old reverse hollow Celebi. When did I get that to be worth $6,000? Unfortunately, that was only a reverse hollow. Confirmed. Crystal records broken in a mint 9, not a 10. Mint 9. $8,000 hairs right there. This is fake. What? Fossil Gengar, pristine, 7,655. Charizard Hollow, $26,000. I think I've told you guys my story. Oh my god. This is, again, make-believe. $7,200 for a PSA 8. 7.5 for the old Ray Gold Star. $12,000 hairs. We booming. Look at this. Pop Series 5 Umbreon. Let's just call it 50,000. I'm sorry, we're $5 away. $50,000. Confirmed paid. Pop Series 5 Umbreon. Last year, you could pick up Pop Series 5 packs for like between $400 to $500. 1 out of 40 shot. Probably less. You could have tried to pull the Umbreon. You could have actually tried at these dollar amounts. Like, there was actually be an expected value. Come in. It's rough. Pop Series, there's a reason it's Pop Series 5. Okay, maybe I'm going on a little bit too much of a limb. $40,000. Gold Star Zard. Like, what's going on? What's going on? We booming? We booming. And then look, even auction transparency is sold. That does not mean paid. So these did not get paid though. Good old Jim for doing that. Look at this. Treco Gold Star. Shout out to oh god, what's his name? Oh god, what's his name? Who hosts the podcast, or used to host the podcast with retro and old school Pokemon? Oh, what's his name? What's his name, chat? Let me know. Somebody let me know. Whoever. He graded a Treco Gold Star. Picked it up raw, graded it in a 10. Almost picked it up from him. Well, I shouldn't say that. I didn't really almost pick it up for him. But I should have. He ended up trading it at the Denver Collecticon. This is wild. Japanese, not even English. $12,000 in a black label. $22,000. I passed on this for $11,000. Again, at Denver Collecticon, I passed on that. Crystal Charizard. The Pikachu from the red and blue collection boxes. Even cards with unlimited infinity make-believe populations. Population 36,000. By the time from when this post was put out, there's probably another 10,000 has hit the pop. And look at the strength of this card. Pops don't mean anything. Nothing means anything. Shout out the old Gengar Hollow. $15,000. We booming. I'm just may never complete my PSA 10 Skyward set, by the way. The old Umbreon. $10,000 hairs right there. We booming. Look at this. Call Legends. Hollow Umbreon. I'll show you guys something. You guys are always like, PK, show me one of your stupid plays. Here's one of my stupid plays. If you guys know what this is, I will give it a shot. Let's see. Do you know why this is important? The old Heart Gold Soul Silver. Umbreon Cracked Ice Hollow. This will be opened up. I'm going to probably record it because it comes with the two Umbreons, the non-hollow and the Cracked Ice Hollow. I'm going to try to go for... I'm going to try to grade it. Crazy. I know. Opening product like that. Going for the old moonshots right there. Send that card through hopefully old Jimbo from ZNG makes a nice little post about that card one day. If I could somehow manage to get the long shot 10, I think it's like a pop 4. It's like a stupid hard card to grade. Should we do a live reveal right now? Yeah, I gotta record that. I want to make a little video about it. Where else are we? Yeah, I probably wouldn't have shown that card if I didn't even see that Umbreon from Call Legends, even though that is a Heart Gold Soul Silver. Undaunted. Alright, where are we? Are we done? Are we done with my rants? We're done with my rants. I have to go break down product for now. Let me go scroll up to the top of the chat. We got Goru says, Scam Alert, call Rattle. I'm looking forward to the Rattle video. I'm sure Rattle will do his normal thing where he'll rant. Nobody can rant quite like Mr. Rattle. Savage, can't even read that comment. You're too funny though. We got Tap though, been a member for 10 months. We got Max Power. Max Power, I can see you, buddy. So what up, PK? Been a while since I catch you live. Appreciate you, buddy. Let's see. I guess if you got a SIG from Panini, go ahead and dump it. Shake my head. Like I said, I don't know what is going to be real. I don't even know how they figure out what's real, what's not. Unless, I don't even know. In-depth card collector said, look at all these fine, shiny cardboard collectors in here. My wife will never understand. My wife still doesn't understand. Luckily, she has given me a long leash. Yes, I'm still on a leash, I guess, but the leash is long at this point. Probably gonna wrap it around like all the lawn chairs and stuff and the table, and I'm probably gonna be pretty tight, but that leash is pretty long. Probably to her own detriment. I will give her credit to that. Let's see. So PokePainter says, make me mad to think about all the collectors that got burned. Anyone who spends that type of money has something special ruined in many ways. Yes. So Iwaz says, I'm just baffled at how much it's going to destroy the market. I don't think it's going to destroy the market. I don't think, the crazy thing is, I bet you there would be, all right, this is the thing. This news was released a day ago. You guys are deep in the market. When this video is all said and done, they'll have a little over 1,000 views. Out of the 1,000 views, there will be at least one person out of those 1,000 views have never heard this story before. And you guys are deep. You guys are deep in the collectibles and Pokemon. You're watching this channel. You're deep. And there will be at least one person who watches this channel and watches this video, and they'll not have known this happened. And this is not new news. This has been out for several hours. And this is a $350 million scandal with people who have ended their own lives because of this. Because they were maybe, allegedly, possibly because they were caught doing this, that they took their own life. And there will be one person out there, at least, who I've never heard, which that alone is preposterous. How can you, and you guys are deep, and then in a year from now, there will still be one person that doesn't know that this happened. And then in 20 years from now, the same way that I had to Google search what, whatever the other thing was, Operation Bullpen. The fact that I had the Google search Operation Bullpen because I wasn't sure what that was. In 20 years from now, there will be somebody who will have to do a Google search of what the heck all this was about. Because the hobby just keeps on moving along, so it won't ruin the hobby. And besides these channels deep down the rabbit hole, I'm telling you, a year from now, a Tom Brady jersey will sell on eBay. Today's date is July 17th, 2025. On July 17th, 2026, at least one Tom Brady jersey will still sell because people don't care. They just don't care. They'll just value fake autographs because they'll have some fake COA and people just won't know. They just won't know. They won't care. That's just this hobby. It just is what it is. Hamburger says money will flow from high-end sports to Pokemon and this is going to pump billion. It's already happened. Listen, do you know how little bit of money? I'm not saying this like derogatory, Hamburger. I'm just saying this like in a general statement. Like the amount of money that is required to pump this hobby is not a lot. How many cards did Pokemon print last year? And then it's like, it's not that much when you think about big money in the collectible space. It's just not. It's just, what's a big allocation, right? What is a lot of product? In the grand scheme of just, is 10,000 packs of a set a lot? Some would say yes. It is just not. 10,000 packs is just so meaningless. I am one person, and I'm on pace. I forget what Dan told. I don't even know. What did he say? 250,000 packs. I'm one person. One person in this giant thing, and I'm going to open up 250,000 packs. What is 10,000 packs? 10,000 packs is nothing. Multiply that versus, people want to talk about the streaming. Yeah, streaming has a lot to do with it, but multiply it over every Walmart and Target and every mom walking in grabbing a check lane blister for their kid. Like, it's just not a lot of packs. And to have one or groups of people come in that are worth hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, or maybe not singular persons, but let's say investment groups that are worth hundreds of millions to billions of dollars, it doesn't take much money for these guys to throw around. You know, you could be talking $10-20 million. These guys could start throwing around, and it drastically like evaporates supply from the market and makes stuff go up. Like, the amount of money that is required to put into the hobby to see exponential gains on the back end is like a disgustingly small amount of money. Like, I'll give you on like the most micro, instead of like a macro scale, I'll give you on the most micro scale. To buy out all TCG player inventory, which is just one little fish in a giant pond, is TCG player. You still got eBay, still got all this. But to just buy out TCG player, all available product of even modern sets, when you start talking about the millions of dollars, it's not a lot in the grand scheme. And then it just doesn't take a lot of people to do that. And then what happens? Prices just go up. And they don't just go up from 200, they go from 200 to 280 for Destined Rivals booster boxes. A big dollar amount. And when you start to talk about percentages, it's huge percentages for not a lot of money. And it just doesn't take much. This hobby is already fickle as it is. I pulled up the Z&G, shout out to old Jimbo out there. I pulled up Jim's auctions because I want you guys to see that by Jim posting the confirmed pays and by Jim's sales being most recent comps, it just creates new floors and it creates new comps. And people go off of very, very little bit of data in this hobby. Like, one sale is not a lot. That will be a new data point, and that will be the data point people will run with a lot of cards. I'm talking about millions of dollars, billions of cards, hundreds of thousands of packs, millions of dollars, blah, blah, blah. I could talk about how big this hobby is, how many people, how many Walmarts exist, Targets and TCG Player, how many items sold on this day, how many sold on Fanatics, eBay Live, whatnot, blah, 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 this many packs, this. I could throw out all these I could give you a tidal wave of big ass numbers, but at the end of the day, this hobby is one recent comp. Or a large majority of the shit in this hobby. It's like one comp. And I just threw out millions of numbers at you. And it just comes down to when it comes to certain stuff. Like I showed that Hollow Gengar from Skyridge that sold $15,000. Like, that is just the new comp for that card. All sales from now until the next 5-10 years are all going to now be in some way based off of by that $15,000 comp. $15,000 comp for that Skyridge Gengar today, probably the next one doesn't sell for less. And if it does, it's based off of that, and then it's based off of a percentage comp we live in the world of single comps. Think about that. This hobby is fickle. There's a lot of moving parts, but it doesn't matter. We booming. One Greninja Gold Stars sells for $1,000. It doesn't matter if there's one at Buy It Now for $600. The $1,000 one sold. The $600 one is at Buy It Now. We do not look at that one. We do look at the new comp, though, because the new comp is a bigger number, $1,000. Like, the amount of people that talked about Greninja Gold Stars because of the sales that were higher than the Buy It Nows is also a preposterous amount of people. Don't get me wrong. I talked about the Greninja before it popped, but just think about that. They cared about the seal because that's the comp, and they didn't care about the highest Buy It Now, which was a couple $100 less. Does that make sense? Because that is his hobby. Like, wrap it up, put a bow on it, shove it up your ass. That is his hobby. Let's keep going. All right. Stephen Calling says, I remember Gary King Pokemon saying Mishiro Rita signed his Charizard and said it devalued his card. No, Stephen Calling, that is unfortunately, he took that out of context, unfortunately. The way Gary said it, he was on actually Grand Stefan's show, and Gary said that the card doesn't add value. He was actually talking about the card inside of it, like the actual... Like, he was saying, like, he could wipe it off, he could crack the card out, regrade it. That's what he was describing. Like, the signature doesn't actually add to the value of the card, but he was referring to the actual physical card inside and not so much the case. It is weird that people took that out of context, especially because people didn't even realize, like, Gary and Mishihiro Rita. See, this is the thing about Gary. See, people take so much out of context. Like, Gary and Mishihiro Rita have gone out to dinner together. Gary has the highest respect for Mishihiro Rita, like, at a high level. The fact that Arita knows Gary's name. They've sat at the same dinner table together. Like, Gary has so much respect for Mishihiro Rita. It's, like, unbelievable. He was talking about that card on a financial podcast, but that's the thing. Like, people don't care about the nuance. That's his hobby. He would take a clip. When it doesn't even matter what Gary said, it's what Gary meant. And Gary's gone on and he's talked about it multiple times, what he meant by that statement. And listen, I say stupid stuff all the time. Do you know how many times I call sets by the wrong names, or I call Scarlet and Violet Sword and Shield, or I've called Sword and Shield Scarlet and Violet, or whatever. It doesn't matter. You can't take single things out of context. What Gary meant, like, people, like, that's his friend, you know? It's just such a weird take. I don't know why that's all happened where, like, Gary has become public enemy number one. Like, he's fucking friends with Mishihiro Rita. Like, they fucking hung out together. They've eaten dinner together. Gary has a crazy amount of respect for him. Like, it's just weird. Like, he was on a financial podcast talking about it gets out of context. And then Gary's gone on multiple podcasts and he's said what he really meant. But like, people don't care. People don't care about the nuance. You take everything at face value and just is what it is. Like, again, put a bow on it, you know? Let's see. Pokey Painter said many years ago, people thought autos on sports card ruined the card's value. Now they're big money. That's also true. But here we are. Let's see. So Gengar says, I never understood the value for a SIG, whether it was real or fake. The only value, in my opinion, of a SIG is the sentimental value of remembering the time you met. Fill in the blank. I agree with that. I have 2 SIGs right there. Right there. My favorite card from Cosmic Eclipse, Hitoshi Ariga, signed those at the Hartford Regional. I had the option if I wanted to do 2 different Ariga artworks, but my favorite modern card is that, so I had him do one with the Pokeball and then one with the Pikachu. So those are my 2 signed cards. They're not graded. I don't care if nobody thinks they're authenticated. I don't care. I don't need a PSA to tell me that those are a real signature. It was me. They are addressed to me. And that card, those cards will be in my PC forever. Because, well, I guess you could put a monetary value to those. I'll put it this way. I'll have to sell everything else in my collection. And the unfortunate reality is, if those cards do get sold, you guys better, hopefully my friends reach out to me via private message, or the people that actually care will probably have my number. Hopefully you guys actually text me or give me a phone call if you ever see those cards for sale, because I want you to say, PK, is everything okay? Because I'm sure you're going to get an answer back that is no, everything is not okay once those cards get put up for auction. So yes, Gengar, I do agree with that statement you had. Let's see. We got Tap in the chat. Tap, good to see ya. That's the point where I got the tap. He said, ignore me. I'm grinding EXP. Says, how did I get... Oh, yeah, this is a new thing where, like, people get crowns or something for chatting in live chats. Yeah. Slavage, you're too funny, buddy. All right. Let's see. So Alex says, PK, can't wait to hear your thoughts on Charlotte Collecticon. Was at Edison last weekend. Vending is in such a piss place. Extremely low wiggle room, overpriced comps based off. Oh, look at that! Based off of one last sale, etc. Look at that, Alex. Look at that. Great minds thinking like we are on the same way. Oh my god. See, this is what happens. I start to stutter. We are on the same wavelength right there. I literally just talked about that. One comp is what we base everything off of in this hobby. You are exactly right, Alex. That is the unfortunate reality. That is just this hobby in a nutshell, buddy. So Nikki Slavitz says, Alex, too many vendors with all the same crap, and none of them want to negotiate. The hobby's booming. Iwa says, oh no, I jumped to the bottom. He said something about $80 booster boxes. Oh, shit. Wait, so you are camp $80 booster boxes are a thing of the past for good. Oh, so I think you meant, so you think $80 booster boxes are a thing of the past for good. $80. Yes. I do. I think, yeah. I think they're a thing of the past. I mean, I also kind of thought that. And I didn't think like the 120 was the floor, which shout out to Mason from Cardinal Gaming. Mason had a hot take saying booster boxes when they go below 120, and then 2 months later Fusion Strike was at 80. Well, it's always possible. I think that it's unlikely. But then again, I mean, there's a lot of booster. I mean, Sword and Shield base set was below $80. I said Sword and Shield. See, I did it again. This is what happens when you take a Scarlet and Violet base. Scarlet and Violet base set was below $80. Paradox Rift was below $80. And that's, what, 8 months ago, a year ago? I don't know. Time flies. So, yeah. No, I'm not going to rule it out. I mean, why can something happen 8 months ago, but now 8 months later it can't happen? Like, I'm not, again, people are willing to die on too many hills. I'm not going to die on that hill. $80 a booster box is always possible. Again, it's going to take a huge exodus of hobby, or it's just going to take a insane amount of printing. Pokemon could do it. And I don't know if they will. Maybe we roll out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it, but it's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, in the dark times of Pokemon, you know, you could go to the Hills Wholesale Game and you could buy $40 base set booster boxes. Shout out to Gary King Pokemon again. You know, Gary King Pokemon, his biggest mass box break-in he ever did was 95 boxes of base set that he sourced at $25 a box. Go ahead, put your little fucking inflation calculator into works. It's still right around $40-ish. So even taken into inflation, it was still a $40 booster box when he was buying them for $25. MSRP was $129.99. Yeah, MSRP creeped up to $143.99, and now we're at whatever, $161 and $69, whatever. Like, yeah, and MSRP keeps creeping up. We'll probably see maybe another MSRP price increase in the near term. Who knows, though? You gotta remember, Pokemon packs don't cost a lot of money. The cards are not expensive inside. Pokemon is just printing money, both literally and figuratively. So Nikki says, PK, I got some connections at the grading company. I'll get you that 10, I wish. That is the goal. All right, as always. Al says, PK, how's the rip and ship in between sets? We drinking yet? We are not drinking yet. Everything is still going pretty good, man. It usually goes like this. Release, and then you get a nice little trickle effect, and trickle down until you start the flat line, and then you get a set release, and it pops back up. Alright, chat. With that said, I appreciate you guys all hopping in. I know, I only make one live a week now, but I am live 10 times a week on Fanatics, even though there will be one person like, oh, the fucking guy, PK, shilling what he does for a living again. Yeah, screw you. Alright, as always, appreciate every single one of you guys. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are not new to the channel, hit that like button. Bye. Don't get scammed for $350 million. Thanks. Later.